Soren Baker here on Unique Access, and today for our best albums, we're joined by TF. Thanks for coming through, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Man, and you picked a very powerful album, man. The Notorious B.I.G, Life After Death.
Yeah.
Man, this dropped in 1997, right after he died, obviously and unfortunately. So for this album, what makes it the best album for you?
Well, at the time, I was, I was commuting back and forth to school. We was living in Norwalk, but I was going to school at Gompers, middle school. And every morning, we listened to that. So I'm just listening to it like, these stories is sick.
Mm-hmm.
Half the stuff I really couldn't grasp on to what he was talking about and all that, but
They kicked in later, I'm sure.
Yeah, because as I got older, I still knew the song.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I heard it, I'm like, damn, this nigga was saying some stuff.
Right, and he has a song on there called A Story to Tell.
Yeah.
So with that song in particular, he's telling the story about the dude coming in and the New York Knicks and all this stuff, and one of the more notable songs, even though it didn't have a video.
Yeah.
So what do you remember specifically about that song standing out to you?
That song was dope. It's like he was really telling the story. I heard that was a true story too.
Yeah, at least to a large degree.
Yeah. So, I had him rapping and then him telling the story to his boys and shit and all that. I'm like, that's dope.
Yeah.
But that was a sick little twist.
Absolutely. Now, before the album came out, and what had led up to the album was the Hypnotize record, which was, a huge song and was released before he passed away, and there was the big video for it. So with that one, Biggie had been so successful with Ready to Die and all the remixes he had, but then he came out with Hypnotize, which was his biggest song to that point and probably ever. So for you, what did you hear and think when you were hearing Hypnotize?
Well, Hypnotize had like that radio sound to it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you listening to what he say on there,
it's
Note
still,
for the Plaintiff.
Right.
Got your daughter in the basement. You feel me? So even with him having that radio sound, like he still kept it scandalous.
Yeah, I was gonna say most radio songs don't have raps about get your daughter tied up in a Brooklyn basement.
Yeah.
So, and then he had the high-profile video, and then, obviously and tragically, he was shot and killed here in Los Angeles. But that obviously gave the album a whole other, movement. But for you, when he died, did that impact the way you were looking forward to hearing the album at all?
Somewhat, because clearly, Pac and then that, and so that was big, So with that happening, and then that dropping, I'm like damn, like what if he would have what if both of them would have still been here, like to see all that go through.
Right. And then what's one song on the album that you really like?
10 Crack Commandments.
Okay, that's another DJ Premier production.
Yeah.
So with that one, you got the Chuck D sample of the numbers, which Chuck D had a problem with, but it's another great story that he's telling of like the code of the streets.
Yeah.
So for you, what made that song resonate so much?
That's still relevant right now.
Right. Especially don't get high on your own supply.
Exactly.
Right.
But that should have been number one.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure everybody could still relate to that song.
Mm-hmm.
Especially growing up in the streets and shit and all that. Not even just in the streets, like everybody. Like where you say, don't mix business with family and all that. Sometimes that's big, because a lot of businesses crumble like that, or like when a family member dies.
Right.
You feel me? Everybody wanna, let's sell this, or I'm taking this, and so. Not even just from the street aspect, but you could use that like just in general.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the great things that Biggie was able to do, like a lot of the great rappers that we've had, is being able to take something that's very street or code of the street thing and then translate it into something that the average person not only understands but can appreciate and enjoy.
Yeah.
And that's something that he definitely did on 10 Crack Commandments. So we also saw with this album, you know, he had I Love the Dough with Jay-Z, and then he also had like The Sky's the Limit. So those were like a little more smoother type of songs that were a little more commercial. Because even his singles on Ready to Die were much more, even though they were commercial singles, they still had that edge to them, especially sonically. But those two songs in particular strayed from that. So when you were hearing Sky's the Limit and like I Love the Dough, what did you think about like the sounds of them?
Well, he had the song before that with Jay-Z. I can't remember the name of it.
The Brooklyn's Finest on Jay-Z's album you talking about?
That's on Reasonable Doubt, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Like, so from that, and then going to that, and then just listening to how it came on, and they going back and forth with it and shit. Like, even listening to it right now, I'm like, that nigga Jay said some stuff on there. Jay ripped that.
Yeah, as he normally does.
Yeah, Jay ripped that. But yeah, that sound was dope. Just to see where Jay at now, like I be sitting like, what if Big was here? Like, what if Pac was here? Like, music would be way different.
Right. And they also, this album was released in 1997, and it was definitely in the era when the double albums were like becoming a big phenomenon and a trend. So for you as a fan, what impact did it being a double album have on you?
The double disc, well, I think one of them said life. I think one of them said life.
Yeah, I think it was Life and Death.
Yeah, so, you know, just seeing that, I'm like, damn, and he died.
Right.
Know?
And then he also had like The Long Kiss Goodnight, and he had You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You.
That's sick too.
Right, yeah, because I was, you know, he had the suicidal thoughts at the end of Ready to Die, and then he came back with those type of songs. So for you, like obviously growing up in LA and you know, we've seen, you know, rappers talking about police brutality, for instance. We've seen rappers talking about things going on in society. We've seen rappers talking about their lives. And with Biggie, on this album, we saw him always rapping about things about death, and then he gets killed. So is that, like, how does that impact you artistically and as a fan?
Well, it kind of played up to that song, You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You. You know, he ended up being one of the biggest rappers, you know. So, like, that type of impact is, like you were saying, he rap about dying, he rap about death.
Right.
And then he died and got a song, you know, coincidentally called You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You.
Right.
And, you know, that's deep.
Absolutely. And so now when you're looking back, what do you think makes it a best album?
Well, tracks like that, you know? Tracks like I Got a Story to Tell, you know, what's the other one? When they in the hotel.
Oh.
Double parks on the hydrant.
Right.
Yeah, you know, shit like that. Like he rap movies, you know, so that was dope. I could listen to that album just back to back over and over. I ain't listened to it in a while, but, you know, that's one of them ones.
All right, well, there it is, y'all. That's why it's the best album here. TF in the place to be, Unique Access, from Soren Baker, Notorious B.I.G, Life After Death, y'all.
Yeah.